everyone, and welcome to MoveCo Live. This show was created while all our cities were closed and we awaited for this pandemic to clear us. And here in Ottawa, Canada, we're going into phase 3, and there's just a lot of changes going on all around us. And I commend our next speaker, Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp. She has a local clinic. She helps people from all over the world, and she's been hugely instrumental during this time. I've sat on so many webinars and listening, rereading that book, Hack Your Health Habits, to kind of keep us on track while things don't seem as normal day-to-day life here. So thank you for being here and listening to our next episode. MoveCo Live will be airing once a week, and we wanted to create this show to help support your health, wellness, and vitality. And we hope these shows inspire you to live your best life and continue with your healthy habits. So what better person to talk about healthy habits than Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp? She wrote a book called Hack Your Health Habits, among many other things. I've known Dr. Nathalie for over 10 years, and I always say she's sort of like a walking encyclopedia. Anytime I have a question about health, I'll go to her clinic or I'll send her a message, because she really, when I say she knows a little bit about everything and a lot about a lot of things, she truly does. She's an Ottawa-based doctor of chiropractic and a certified functional medicine practitioner. She's also the author of Hack Your Health Habits, Simple Action Drive Natural Health Solutions for People on the Go. And her book has sold well over thousands of copies nationwide to date. So hi, Dr. Nathalie. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Sam. Excuse me, I'm coughing too here somehow. A frog in my throat, as they say. So I'm doing great. Great intro in the sense that it is tricky right now with everything that's going on. And it is more important than ever to focus on our overall health and well-being. And that's what I love about Move Collective is you guys have the same mission as me, is to empower people to live their best life, from a mindset point of view and a physical point of view.
Exactly. So, you see people every single day in your clinic. What is the one thing you notice that you're saying over and over again? Like, if there's one thing, I know we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff today, but I just want to if someone was only listening to this for a few minutes, what's one takeaway you want people to know right now about their health?
Well, right now, I think it's mindset, meaning, and I would not have said that before what's going on, but I'd say limit your use of social media and the news, because wow is all I have to say. It just and especially right now there's misinformation, and if you don't have a background in health, heck, even the doctors that have a background in health are confused. So you really want to, not saying that you have to isolate yourself in terms of not knowing what's going on, but you really need to set a certain time, if it is Facebook, to connect with friends and family and so forth. But you can't go down the rabbit hole of finding health information or any type of information, political information. And you just have to be careful, because you can waste 2 hours, 3 hours of your time, and it's not good, because time can be better spent. And the negativity, one of the things that I talk about all the time is our stress level with our cortisol level. Well, let me tell you, if I were to do a saliva test or a dried urine test on many of us, our cortisol levels are probably not at a great spot. So that's one of the first things that I would say is limit your consumption of the news and media. And then secondly, I would say reconnect in nature. Nature is just this peaceful place that makes you forget. So if you have a cottage, or I know I have gone back to running trails during all this, and we have a wood not too far. I can do a nice 4-kilometer loops in there, either walking or running or whatever, and it just grounds me. It just, I forget where I am. I'm getting my exercise in, and then just, grounding and even grabbing flowers or plants or rocks is just like, we need the energy of nature, those negative ions. And I know when I say negative ion, almost sounds negative, but the earth produces those ions that we need. So getting back closer to nature, I think would be, kind of an add-on to the first question you just asked.
I love that. And you're right. So I turned all the notifications off on my phone. I did that over a month ago and I saw a big difference. And also I have a toddler in my life. So yeah, we go out and like he rips off his shoes and he's putting his hands in everything. And you're actually the one who told me to do that. You know, you're like, make sure he's in the dirt and building all that good immunity. So it's a reminder for all of us to play and be with our inner child. So thank you so much. So no matter what our age is, like get out in nature. We have it everywhere. So just find it. Even if you have to drive a few minutes to get there, just do it. And
yeah, it's totally worth it. I mean, we've got the Gatineau Park near us in Ottawa, so I really there's a lot, and I've discovered some woods in my area that I didn't even know were around. So yeah, so important.
It's actually a good benefit of what's happened because we're not spending a lot of time indoors and we're trying to find these outdoor places. So that's definitely a big positive. So when you talk about mindset, I always think of morning rituals. So what are some of the morning rituals you would recommend for someone to start their day on the right foot?
Well, I would say, and I can talk from my experience with all this, and all through this, I made sleep my number one priority. So if I didn't sleep well the night before, guess what? The workout got pushed, or, you know, I wear a Oura ring, and I know a lot of people are wearing Fitbits and things like that, which are great, but a side note on this, make sure you're not transmitting all day. So I turn my Bluetooth off and I just do it once a day in the morning to track my data, but you don't want to be transmitting the whole time. So just a side note, because you are becoming an antenna, and electromagnetic field is not so great for us. So in terms of mindset, I think it's important that you know, we position and make sure that we don't want to be too rigid, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So as much as I was really hard on morning ritual and I would get up at 4:30 and so forth, with this, I'm like, okay, this is a very stressful time for a multitude of reasons. I think everybody's stressed for different reason, that it is an older parents that you need to take care of, like, or the kids that are now becoming your coworkers because, you know, they're in your house. So I think stress is going to be different for everyone, but I think it's important that we become almost more flexible in terms of not, you know, making it too hard on us if we're not achieving that to-do list or the productivity and so forth. And again, I would not have maybe said that before COVID, but for me, sleep was my number one priority. So I really focused on that. So my morning was different, and depending if I had to go to the clinic or not, because we were doing emergency care, you know, so I was more flexible, which, you know, you would have almost expected the other way around. But where I wasn't flexible and ramped things up even more is in my own health. So my supplements, all the biohacking tools that I have access to, my brain tap for my meditation, my foods. I never cooked so much in my life. So I really focus on, okay, let's strengthen my body as much as I can. And I think that's what's kind of missing right now, is that we're talking about the bugs or the pathogen, and we're not so much talking about the host, us, our body, how we can keep ourselves stronger as much as possible. And I'm not saying, you know, ignore public health recommendation here. I'm just saying, what else could you do to make sure you're as strong as possible? So sleep is a huge one. Your food, your nutrition. I know some people, I've seen it with patients that it's either gone one way or the other. Like I remember an older gentleman that came back, and I'm like, whoa, Peter, what happened to you? He lost 15 pounds. You know, he's probably in his late 60s and just kept walking, and he lost 15 pounds. So for him, you know, is, I guess, his way of coping with stress, and obviously a positive thing. Then I see other people that come to the clinic and, you know, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time. I put on some weight because my routines changed. You know, people that didn't realize how much it was making them be more active to go downtown to work, because they had to walk to the parking lot. They had to, you know, go talk to a coworker and things like that. And that's why, as much as I think people have been more active going for walks near their area, the amount of step doesn't always add up because we're not as active. So, you know, to put that in the routine. And then, you know, food, always food first, but then supplementations, you know, great. Vitamin D is so crucial. We can get it outside, but maybe for some people it's not enough and they want to supplement with that, a good multivitamin. I always talk about my Fantastic Four. So vitamin D, probiotic, multivitamin, and a good fish oil. And then if you think your immune system is a little bit lower, well, there's zinc, there's NAC. St. Francis has great tincture of herbs to strengthen your immune system. So there's a lot that you can do. And then cutting the sugar, you know, I talk about that often because sugar will have a negative effect on our immune system.
Wow. So much information right there. But what I got from that, number one, is a recap. Sleep is so important to our bodies, mind, and soul. I love, Dr. Nat, I see a different side of you, actually. The word flexibility comes in, and compassionate, and really like this self-care. You're a very high performer. And I think a lot of us were in like the old world, like this fourth and like go, go, go. You had systems and they worked for you. But I see you as kind of like when you talk about nature and like flexibility, like that's so good for our bodies, you know? And how you said you're cooking more. Like I too, like I learned skills. The only way to learn and master something is to do it over and over again. And I never gave myself the time to actually do a lot of those things too. And I think you're in the same boat as me. So I think you definitely have a few more recipes and a bit more time in nature. And
I need more though. My husband's teasing me that my repertoire is starting to be cyclical. So I'm going to have to get new recipes. But yeah, no, definitely. And it's another thing I think that, and I've talked about that even before, is the not to do list, meaning it's easy to get busy and then you just pile on to your normal life. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, hold on a second. I can't keep up. So I think what this did to us is, I mean, we went back to just like almost nothing, right? So I think it was a good time to declutter. I know I cleaned my bookshelf. It may not look like it, but I have another one in my room. So I purge, as our friend Deborah McDonald used that word often. My books organized, and then my clothes, and then just, you know, decluttered, because I when am I going to be given that time again? So I made the best use as I could think of with it. But all that to say, then when you start re-adding things, and we're, like you said, you know, going to phase 3, so more and more. So even this morning I had the thought of, oh boy, I'm getting pretty busy with all the projects that are coming back in. I don't want to go back to maybe have too much. But the reality is that not to-do list, we have to do every month and say, okay, what is it there that just, I'm not going to get to it. Let's just, you know,
let it go for now.
Let it go. Or who can I hire or leverage, or how can we make it work, you know, for people who have, you know, businesses or team that are helping them out.
Exactly. So the word that comes to mind is automating your life too. So a lot of your healthier hack habits are about automating. It's about supplementation and these rituals and stuff like that. So what are some tips for people to hack their health habits, like with some automation tools? Like you mentioned some supplements, like your favorite 4. Like what else should we be making sure they're in our daily, everyday life?
Well, getting up in the morning and having your big glass of water. And that's another thing that, you know, like I said, I've gotten pretty deep in the biohacking world. So for me, it's putting a tablet of hydrogen water in my water for its health benefit. I mean, we could do an entire show on that one, but it's just all the things that you know you should do. How can you incorporate them to make sure that you do? Is it leaving your supplements out so they're right there? Is it preparing the night before? Is it planning your workout outdoors? You know, scheduling them into your agenda so you make sure. So for people who have dogs, it's great because the dog is going to remind them. So for people that don't, how are you going to make it that, you know, you're going to get up for your seat and go? I have this tool here. I'm just reaching for it here. It's a cute little cube that I ordered on Amazon a couple of years ago, and when you turn it on, if depending where I put it, it's going to be a 15 minutes, a 30 minutes, and a 60. And people can say, oh, I can do that on my phone. The point is to not have your phone close
Yes.
to you. So you'll say, okay, I'm going to work on something for 30 minutes, or I'm going to do a workout for 30 minutes, and then time to move on to something else. And you don't have to check your phone and get sidetracked by something else. So that's another thing that I've used. Tabata workouts are great because they can get in a workout quite often. Another cool thing that I discover is a app for books, and I can't remember the name, but it basically recaps a whole book in 15 or 20 minutes. So kind of nice. I mean, there are some books that I really want to dig deep into it, but other books, maybe just the gist of the book is good. So I enjoy reading. To me, it's almost my favorite thing to do. So not to say that I will stop reading, but if I can be more efficient, if I need a certain knowledge, there are now better tools for us to use.
Exactly. No, and everything you just mentioned, like, let's make it fun every day when we wake up in the morning. Like, this is our life. Like, it's about like claiming your power and just being like, okay, like this is about me right now and taking care. Because when we take care of ourselves, we can take care of our families and do better and perform good in our jobs. And I can talk to you for hours, Dr. Nat, but I wanted to know, like, you're always inventing things and creating ways for us to hack your health and take care of ourselves. So tell us about some of the projects you have going on, because this is just a short podcast here, so I'd like to know, like, how can people continue with the journey?
Well, obviously I'm still leveraging the book, and I'm doing that more now through webinars. So I've been doing a fair amount of webinars to patients and the people that are on following me and I've read the book, but also corporate webinars. So now everybody's working from home, so I've been on many webinars for companies that kind of lunch and learn through the power of webinars. So working on this, and then working on a lot of other projects with other health practitioners, other chiropractors, on how we can collaborate, because I have knowledge, another doctor has knowledge. How can we collaborate to make information more available to people and to decipher the information? Because as we started, if you don't have a health background, it can be very overwhelming. So how can we, each of us practitioner, reach more people, but collaborate so we can, just give people tools and strategies and tips to make it easy? Because at the end of the day, it's not that hard. No. It's just that we just pile on and make it more complex. So there's a way to simplify. And I think, again, this brought some simplicity into our lives, meaning that going back to basic human needs, what's the fellow's name with the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Yes. When it came down to it, it's like, okay, shelter and food and so forth. So we want to make sure that we leverage this simplicity and not forget about it.
I love that. Yeah, no, you're right. Keep it simple. Something I've learned. So Dr. Nathalie, she's available all the time for learning. I've definitely benefited from her webinars. And for me, it's like, I've read the book, but it's something like with health, I think you just need to continuously like invest in yourself and take the time. So things like these podcasts, taking the time, kudos to everyone who's here and listening. That means you're claiming your health and your time. The book is great. It's one of those books that you could just like pick a few pages and read every day, or go to the topic that's important to you. So Hack Your Health Habits is available. In the show notes, I'm going to put all the different ways you could reach Dr. Nathalie. And a big thank you to the Green Beaver Company for powering up the show. I know Dr. Nathalie's also a big fan because, you're making the choice to put organic, clean products on your skin, which is a whole other topic for you. I know that's something you're really passionate about. Yeah. So thank you, everyone.
One thing that I'd like to say, Sam, that we didn't talk about is that health is a journey. You're never there. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still integrating. I call them biohacking, but it's lifestyle. It's tools in my life to take my health to the next level. So heck, I'm still learning. So I'd like people to think that this should be fun. It should be, okay, well, let's try this new approach of eating and see how I feel with it. Wow, my energy's through the roof. Or now, yeah, that's not working for me so much. And just, there's no one size fits all. And our needs also change as, you go maybe from being an athlete to, being in menopause, there's just be easy on ourselves that you're not going to find the solution, because there's none. It's just a full package. And sometime if you get off the wagon of workouts or eating well, or you got into a not so great habit of eating whatever every night, like just be gentle on yourself and just steer it back and say, okay, what else? And there's that positive momentum that we create when we make better choices. And it's kind of like building a muscle, and you make a better choice, it's going to have as a consequence that you're going to make another better choice. So I feel that there's a positive domino effect that you can really create with that.
I love that. Right now it's summertime here in Ottawa, so we've got beautiful weather, and I'm doing that the night before. I try to think of the next fun activity we're going to do the next day. So, we're going to a friend's house to the pool. Tomorrow we're going to go to the beach, and it's just, like we're just making the most. And so for me, movement and health and fitness, it's fun. It's outdoors. It's with the kids. It's with the family, and I'm having a wonderful time. What about you, Dr. Nat? I know you're taking up some golfing and
yeah, I'm doing golfing. I'm running. I'm swimming. What else? I still have to go rollerblading, actually, on your side of the river. I love going to the marina out in Elmer for rollerblading. So I haven't been on my rollerblades yet. But again, just trying to do more stuff outside than inside.
Exactly. Oh, you're a breath of fresh air, Dr. Nathalie. Thank you so much. You've just left us with more questions, but you know what? She's going to be at MoveCon in November, and we're going to interview her again. She's definitely part of the MoveCo family. So thank you so much, Dr. Nathalie, for your time today. And everyone, if you haven't checked out the book yet, Hack Your Health Habits, you won't be disappointed. And just everyone, take care of yourself. This is, we're signing out today from MoveCo Live. Take care, Dr. Nat.